Hello everyone, welcome back to Chinmoye's Biology channel to a new episode of sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So till now in your how do organisms reproduce, there we have already completed till vegetative propagation. So we have already spoken about binary fission, multiple fission and other several methods of vegetative propagation. So asexual reproduction is completed. So please go to the previous videos which I have already uploaded. I'll be putting the link in the description box below. So today's topic is very interesting. We are going to start with sexual reproduction, and in the beginning today's class we will discuss about sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So without further delay, let's get started, and please don't skip in the middle, and if you are liking my channel, please do subscribe to my channel. So let's get started. So what is the main definition of sexual reproduction? So sexual reproduction, when it happens, when the fusion of the male and the female gametes are happening. Okay, so one gamete from the male part and one gamete from the female part, they unite together and they form a zygote. So then only sexual reproduction happens. But in asexual reproduction, we have already seen that there is no role of the male and the female gametes fusion. So only one organism can take part in reproduction, and like that only the offsprings or the next generation is produced, right? Now in sexual reproduction, it ensures that genetic variation is there, but whereas in asexual we have told that no variations is there. So whatever disease is there in the parents will be carried on in the next generation, as they are not involving the fusion of gametes, or there are no involvement of the male and the female fusion. So no question of variation in asexual reproduction. So but here there is a in this continuation of species, there is variation which is happening in sexual reproduction. So mainly this occurs in flowering plants, because flowers are the main reproductive organ. So this is occurring in flowering plants. These flowering plants are called angiosperms. Okay, so the plants which don't have flowers are called gymnosperms. This in higher classes you will study in detail. So just remember that the flowering plants are called angiosperms and the non-flowering plants are called gymnosperms, right? So they are called gymnosperms. Sorry. So these are non-flowering plants. And the flowering plants, we have already told, the flowering plants are called angiosperms. So today we will go into details in this process of sexual reproduction in plants. So what is the importance of sexual reproduction in plants? So let us see first. First is genetic variation. So sexual reproduction produces new combinations of traits, helping plants adapt to the changing environments. Okay, so suppose the male plant is having certain different characteristics, as well as the female is having certain other characteristics. So when they fuse together, a combination of traits will come into new generation, and which will help the plants to survive, to thrive well in the changing environment. So this is very important. Next comes disease resistance. So offspring with varied genes, they are less likely to all the affected all things which are they are likely to be affected, like the same disease and all, they'll not be affected to the same disease as the previous parents. Okay, now there is an evolutionary advantage as well. So variation leads to the natural selection process, allowing the better suited plants to survive. So more they are having genetic variation, more they are having disease resistance, there is a condition which is arising, which is helping the plants to survive better. So evolution in this plants is happening. This is another important point, which is helping the plants to survive more. So survival of the species is happening. Cross pollination, that we will study in the next slides. What is cross pollination? When two plants are crossing against each other, that is one male and one female, this ensures the exchange of the genes, preventing the inbreeding depression. Okay, so if this is happening within the same plant itself, then this survival of the species will reduce. But as it is having in cross pollination, there are chances of exchange of genes, and then it will help in the survival of the species, right? Next comes wider distribution. So seeds formed after fertilization can be dispersed by we can say wind, water and animals, and these are spreading through different species of animals. So there is a wider distribution rather than to stay constricted in the same region, same zone, same field only. They are being spread through different agents of dispersal like wind, water and animals. They are carrying the seeds away from the parent plant to different other places, which helps them to get a chance of wider distribution, right? So this is the importance of sexual reproduction in plants. Now we will move on to the other parts. So we have already told that flower is the reproductive organ in plants. So let us see, we have to have a basic idea of what is the structure of a flower. Without that, we can't get into the process of reproduction, right? So flowers are the main reproductive organs of plants. So what are the main parts of a flower? Sepals, petals, stamens or the male part, carpels and the female part. So let us see here, these are the petals. Okay, these are the petals. This green part, this is the sepal. Okay, this swollen part is the receptacle and this is the stamen. So what is the stamen? Stamen is the male part which is having the anther and the filament. Okay, it is the male part having the anther and the filament. And what is the female part? The female part is called the carpels. Okay, what is this carpel having? Carpel is having stigma, style and ovary. So this you should be very clear about this. So style, stigma and ovary are the carpel. This carpel is composed of style, stigma and ovary, and this is the female part. And the male part consists of the anther and the filament. So this is the male part. This is called the stamen. Is it clear? Now carpel contains ovary with ovule. So this ovary is there. This is the ovary which contains ovule as well. So these are the female gametes, and the male gametes, this anther, they contain the pollen or the male gametes. Okay, so this picture in the next slide we will see in details, and it will make a clear idea about what are the parts: sepals, petals, stamens and carpels. Stamens are the male part which consists of the anther and the filament, and female part is the carpel which consists of stigma, style and ovary. Okay, so we will see this diagram again in the next part. Now we are here with a structure of a flower which I have discussed earlier as well, but here we will give a clear idea of a structure of a bisexual flower. So what does this bisexual flower means? It is having both the male and the female part. Okay, so what are the male parts? We have told earlier that stamens are the male part and the female part is carpels, we have told, and carpels and pistil are the same thing. So they can be either called carpels or they can be called pistil. Is it clear? Now the carpels or the pistil, they consist of stigma, style and ovary, and inside the ovary there are ovules, right? So inside the ovary there are ovules. Okay, so this is ovary, and inside the ovary there are ovules, right? Now here in this male part, that is anther and the filament. So on the top of this anther only yellowish pollen grains are there. Okay, so these are the male parts of the flower. What will happen? This petals, these are the colorful petals. These are attracting bees and butterflies for coming and sitting on them to draw the nectar from it. So they will come and sit on this anther, and the pollen grains which are having these are dust like things, they will stick to the body of the bee or the butterfly, and when they'll come and sit again here, that will fall on that stigma. So through this only the pollen will grow into a pollen tube. They will enter this ovary, and here this ultimate fertilization will occur. So this process in details we are going to discuss today. So this is an overview which I am giving how the process happens. Pollen grains are there on the anther. Insects come and sit there. They will again fly and sit on the top of stigmas. Stigma is having certain sticky material, so the pollen grains will get dropped from the body of the insects and they will stick to the stigma surface, and then the process of fertilization will happen as the pollen grain will travel down the style or this tube, and they'll enter this ovary through a hole called micropyle, and then full process will happen. Okay, now we will come down. These are the sepals. These are the greenish in colors, and they will protect the bud while developing. Okay, now comes the pedicel. This is the stem of the flower which is carrying water and food to the flower. Is it clear? Now next comes the receptacle. Receptacle, what is it? It supports the flower head, and the head of the flower is being supported by the structure called receptacle. So this is the structure of a flower. Bisexual flower is the perfect flower as it contains both the male and the female parts together. And a unisexual flower has either the pistil or the stamens. So it is either called a pistillate flower or a staminate flower. If it is containing the pistil, it is called a pistillate flower. And if it is containing the stamen, it is called a staminate flower. So now we will move on how the process of pollination and fertilization happens. So now comes what is pollination. So pollination is actually the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma. So this is the anther, this is the male part to the stigma, that is the female part. When the pollen grains are carried, that is called pollination. So it can be self, it can be cross. And what is self? Self pollination is happening only in that flower which is bisexual, which is having two male and female parts as well, that we have studied just in the previous one only. And this is what is happening. The insects are coming and sitting on this, and they are carrying the pollen with them, and they are again sitting on this. This is cross pollination by insects. So similarly, there are certain agents of pollination. First one is wind, then is water, then is insects, then is birds, and then are animals. So certain agents like insects, animals and birds, they come and sit on this flower and they take that to the other flower. So how do winds and water do? Same thing, only when in water plants the pollen is carried through the water from one plant to the stigma of another plant, and if there is on a windy day, the pollens fly from one plant to another, and like that only the pollination through wind, water, insects and birds happens. So that is cross pollination which happens in different plants. So this is suppose the male plant and this is the female part. These are not the, if they are not the bisexual flowers also, so like that from one part to another. And if they are bisexual flowers also, as shown in this figure, both are having both male and female parts, then also this cross pollination is happening. Why? Because the insects are carrying the pollens from this part, male part of this plant, to the female part of this plant. So there also cross pollination can happen. Okay, is it clear? So cross pollination is possible in a plant with we can say that in same plant which are having flowers of both male and female individually, like unisexual flowers, and in different plants as well. So that is also cross pollination. So from one flower to another flower, that is the mode, that is the event of cross pollination. Okay, now we will move on to the process of fertilization, how the fertilization is happening. So what is fertilization? We have told that fertilization is the fusion of the male and the female gametes. So pollination has already happened here. So pollination has brought the female and the male gametophytes together. Okay, so here they have combined. So how they are combining? First we need this germination of the pollen grain. Okay, so under suitable certain conditions, what is happening? The pollen grain, it is absorbing sugar and water from the stigma. It is bulging out and producing a tube. So this tube is called the pollen tube. So here the germination. First the pollen grains are here, they are germinating, and after absorbing sugar and water from the stigma, this is the stigma of the flower, right? They are forming a pollen tube. So what is the function of the pollen tube? So through the pollen tube, it is carrying the pollen grain. So while carrying the pollen grain, it divides and it forms two male gamete nuclei. So it is carrying two male gamete nuclei. So which is entering the ovary of the flower through this hole, and this hole is called the micropyle. It is very important, just make a note of this. This is called micropyle and it is entering this. Okay, so once it enters, what will happen? The male gametes, they fuses with the egg to form the zygote. Here you can see the egg cell is there. It is fusing, two male gametes were there. You just remember I told you two male gametes are being carried. These two male gametes, one is combining with the egg cell. It is forming the zygote. So what about the another one? Another male gamete combines with this polar nuclei and it forms the endosperm. Okay, so fusion product of two polar nuclei with one male gamete forms the endosperm, and another one with the egg cell forms the zygote. So here double fertilization is happening, and this fertilization takes place twice. Why it is called double fertilization? Once the male gametes, they combine with the this male gametes, they are combining with the this egg cells, and another one they are combining with the polar nuclei. So twice the fertilization is happening, and for that reason it is called double fertilization. Okay, now two separate times fusion is happening. It is called double fertilization, and since three nuclei are involved in this fusion, it is called triple fusion. It is called triple fusion and double fertilization. So it is very important. This concept of double fertilization and triple fusion is very important. It is very important for your exams as well. So we will see the definition of this double fertilization and triple fusion in the next slide, and then we will conclude this part. So what is double fertilization in plants? We have just now told in the previous slide that double fertilization, it is a unique process in angiosperms. So what are angiosperms? These are flowering plants where the two male gametes, they form from a pollen grain, they take part in fertilization and inside the ovule. So what happens? One male gamete fuses with the egg cell to form the zygote 2N, and the other male gamete fuses with two polar nuclei to form the 3N. So one is 2N, another is 3N. Now remember this 3N, and we will move on to the definition of triple fusion. So triple fusion is what? This 3N what is formed, that is fusion of the one male gamete with two polar nuclei in the central cell of the embryo sac. So if this is the embryo sac, here two polar nuclei were there where one male gamete is coming and fusion is happening. So it is forming 3N. So this 3N, this is called the triple fusion is happening here. So primary endosperm nucleus, or PEN, which is 3N or triploid. Okay, so this endosperm develops into a nutritive tissue that provides the food to the developing embryo. Is it clear? So this is the important process of fertilization or sexual reproduction in plants. So we will sum up just in the next slide. So what we have studied today. So just quickly we will discuss that post fertilization, what are the changes which are happening. Zygote develops into embryo, ovule develops into seed, ovary develops into fruit. Just remember this. And what about the petals and sepals? After fertilization, petals, sepals and stamen, they all wither away. So this is a very important part. In your many questions they ask you that ovule is transforming into what? Ovary is transforming into what, and what about the petals and the sepals? So they wither away and these are converted to seed and fruit. Is it clear? Now let us. So inside the seed and fruit formation, if we see, inside the seed it contains the embryo. Seed has a protective seed coat and is storing the food. Fruit protects the seed and helps in the dispersal. And there are types of fruit, that is dry fruit and fleshy fruit, right? So fruit is protecting all the fruits which you are eating, that is mango, etc. You see the fruit, the fleshy juice part, it is protecting the seed inside and which helps in the dispersal. After we chew the or eat the fruit or the pulp outside, we'll throw away the seed. In apples also, we will take the apple and we'll throw away the seed. Okay. So this is how the fruit and seed formation is happening in the plants. Now, how the seeds are dispersed? Seeds are dispersed away from the parent plant by the methods of wind. So, cotton and dandelion, these plants are having very light seeds. They are dispersed through the wind. Water is coconut. Coconut, it falls on water. Mostly the coconut trees are near water, and from one place to another, they are dispersed to water. Next comes animals, mango and guava. They are eaten by animals and they are thrown away by animals. And explosive mechanisms, pea and balsam, the seed pod, they explode and seeds are dispersed from one place to another. So this is the seed dispersal process in different plants. Okay, now we will do a quick sum up. So, in a summary, we have studied sexual reproduction in flowers today. So, what we have studied, it involves pollination, fertilization, seed and fruit formation. So, we have studied all in details. We have studied about self and cross pollination. We have studied the process of fertilization, double fertilization and triple fusion. We have studied how the seeds and fruits are formed. And we have ensured that genetic variation is happening and survival of certain species are happening. And seed dispersal helps in the spreading of the plants to new areas as well. So this is all for today's episode of sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So now you can go through your NCERT book or whichever book you are following, just go through that. You will have a clear idea of what I taught today. If you are till then having any questions, any queries, please do write in my comment box. And if you want to clear your doubts, you need to write your questions as well. And you need to subscribe to my channel if you are liking it, because the next episode will be very interesting. It will be on human reproduction. So stay tuned, stay updated, share it with your friends. And I want you all to watch the lesson full and ask me questions as much as you can. And if you are having any doubts and any lesson specifically you want me to discuss, please let me know. Stay tuned, stay subscribed to my channel. Thank you. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye. See you in the next class.